Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a close look at a company making some serious waves, Presight.
Yeah, ADX listed. They just dropped some pretty compelling first half results for 2025.
Exactly. Compelling is the word. So our mission today is really to unpack these results, the financials, the strategy.
And try to understand what's really driving this, well, this huge growth they're reporting.
Right, and also how they're positioning themselves. We keep hearing this term sovereign AI. We need to get into what that actually means for them and, the wider AI landscape.
Definitely. It seems core to their strategy, both in the UAE and increasingly abroad.
Okay, so let's dive in. Let's unpack this. So the big headline figure that just jumps out, record first half growth, revenue topping AED 1 billion.
Yeah, AED 1.09 billion for H1 2025. That's an 80.2% jump compared to last year. Huge number.
It really is. I mean, 80% year on year. What's the deeper story behind such a massive surge? Is it just one thing or?
Well, it's partly acquisitions like AIQ coming fully into the fold, but what's maybe more telling is even if you strip AIQ out, their organic revenue growth was still really strong, 33.5%.
Okay, so the core business is growing rapidly on its own.
Exactly. And look at the profitability, EBITDA, which gives you that clearer picture of core operating performance.
Right. Earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, amortization.
Yeah. That rose nearly 60%, 59.6% to AED 245.5 million. And net profit was up too, 18.8%, hitting AED 209.7 million for the half year.
Okay. And if we zoom in just on the second quarter.
Similar story, Q2 revenue hit AED 523.9 million. That's up 53.5% compared to Q2 last year.
Still very strong growth.
Yeah.
But the net profit for Q2 was a bit lower sequentially, right? AED 89.7 million.
Yeah, and they flagged that. That reflects the impact of the new 15% corporate tax rate kicking in. So still profitable, but the tax effect is visible there.
Right. Makes sense. So these numbers are, well, they're impressive, but what's really fueling this? Where's it coming from?
A big piece of the puzzle seems to be their international expansion. That really stood out.
How so?
Well, in Q2 this year, international markets brought in 26.8% of their total revenue.
26.8%. Wow. How does that compare?
Last year, same period, it was just 4.9%.
Okay, so that's a huge shift from under 5% to over a quarter of their revenue coming from outside the UAE.
Exactly. It shows that their strategy to go global isn't just talk. It's becoming a really material part of their business.
And what are they actually doing internationally?
It seems focused on supporting governments and large enterprises. Things like optimizing public services, helping with economic diversification plans, national resilience.
So embedding themselves in quite strategic national projects.
Precisely. It's not just selling off-the-shelf software. It seems more about partnering on these big strategic goals.
And it's not just about the revenue they're booking now. What about future business? The backlog.
Ah, yeah, the backlog. They secured another AED 304 million in new orders just in this period.
Okay. Bring the total to
An incredible AED 3.7 billion.
3.7 billion. That's massive.
It is, and it's more than triple where it stood the previous year. So that gives you a sense of the future workload they've already secured.
So what does a backlog like that, combined with their cash position, actually mean for them strategically?
Well, they mentioned having AED 2.0 billion in cash, and importantly, an unlevered balance sheet.
Meaning, basically, no debt,
Right. So you combine that huge backlog, the strong cash position, and no debt. It gives them enormous flexibility.
Flexibility to do what? Invest.
Expand.
Both. Fund product innovation, R&D, pursue targeted expansion internationally, all without needing to borrow money. That's a pretty significant advantage in the AI space, which can be capital intensive.
Okay, so strong results, huge backlog, lots of cash. It's probably no surprise then that they've upgraded their outlook.
Exactly. They bumped up their medium-term financial guidance, which definitely signals confidence.
Right. What are the specifics there? What are they projecting now?
They're now expecting compound annual growth for group revenue between 2023 and 2027 to be in the range of 21% to 27%.
Which is up from 19-25% previously.
Okay.
And for group EBITDA growth, they're now guiding 17% to 22%, up from 16-21%.
And post-tax profit.
That's guided up too, 7% to 12% growth compared to 6-11% before. And that's factoring in the 15% tax rate.
So across the board, they're more optimistic based on, well, the performance and these big multi-year contracts they seem to be winning.
Seems that way. It's not just hope. It looks like a recalibration based on what they're actually seeing and signing.
Let's shift gears a bit from the pure financials to their strategy and operations. You mentioned sovereign AI earlier. They seem to be really leaning into that, especially the UAE.
Absolutely. They're clearly positioning themselves as the go-to AI partner for the UAE government and related entities.
You mentioned sovereign AI implies national control over AI systems, data, infrastructure, keeping it within borders, essentially, for security or strategic reasons.
Yeah, that's the core idea. Less reliance on external, potentially foreign providers for critical AI capabilities. And Presight seems tailor-made for that role in the UAE.
And we see evidence of that.
Yeah, they mentioned new contracts signed with the UAE National Media Office and the UAE Media Council, for instance.
Okay.
But the really standout one might be this strategic cooperation agreement with the Abu Dhabi Department of Energy
For what exactly?
to develop something called ADWE. They describe it as a world-first AI-powered platform for managing energy and water.
The whole ecosystem
Look,
across the UAE.
that's the ambition. Revolutionizing how the entire energy and utilities sector operates. Think of it like creating an AI-driven central nervous system for the country's utilities.
Wow. Okay, that's a major undertaking and very strategic.
Hugely strategic. It really shows the depth of their involvement domestically.
And we already touched on the accelerating international side. Where specifically are they making inroads? What does that footprint look like now?
Well, they highlighted a few key regions. Malaysia is one.
It's happening there.
A landmark agreement, apparently, to help accelerate Malaysia's digital transformation, specifically supporting the government's Madani AI initiative.
So again, partnering at a national strategy level, not just a simple contract.
Seems so. Positioning themselves as a foundational player in building Malaysia's AI capabilities. Then there's Uganda.
Okay, Africa, what's the project?
They're preparing to roll out a national digital government program, working with Uganda's National Information Technology Authority. That could be really transformative for public services there.
Interesting. Anywhere else?
Central Asia, too. They've opened a new office in Astana, Kazakhstan, and they're expanding energy sector partnerships there, mainly through AIQ, their majority-owned subsidiary.
So, Middle East, Asia, Africa, a clear focus on these high-growth markets.
Definitely.
The CEO, Thomas Promotam, sort of summed this up, didn't he? Highlighting growth both at home and abroad.
Yeah, he emphasized the deepening sovereign partnerships, their role with the UAE federal government and state-owned enterprises.
And pointed to their execution, their platforms, their talent.
Right, and he explicitly stated that international expansion in these specific regions, Middle East, Asia, Africa, is a material part of their growth.
So it's not just opportunistic. It's a core pillar of the strategy now.
That's the message. They're aiming to compete globally by helping these countries with public services, economic diversification, resilience, things we discussed earlier. It feels very targeted.
And they're also looking at innovation pipeline, right? The accelerator program?
Yeah, the Presight AI Startup Accelerator, they mentioned the first cohort. It's a way for them to get early eyes on emerging tech, maybe potential partners or acquisition targets down the line. Smart move.
Keeps them connected to the cutting edge.
Exactly. And then even after this reporting period closed, there were more big announcements.
Yeah. Like what?
A potentially groundbreaking joint venture with the Central Bank of the UAE.
Central Bank. Wow. Doing what?
Delivering, and here's that term again, sovereign AI-native tech solutions. The goal is supporting a resilient, secure, future-ready financial market infrastructure.
Okay, applying AI to the core financial system infrastructure. That sounds critical.
Foundational, even. It could really change how things operate in the financial sector there.
Any other major partnerships announced post-period?
Yes, a strategic MOU memorandum of understanding with Dow Jones.
Dow Jones, the financial information company.
That's the one. To co-develop and commercialize AI-driven risk and compliance solutions.
Even who?
Global financial institutions, regulators, sovereign entities. So again, targeting a very high-value, high-stakes market. Risk and compliance is huge.
Right. So stepping back from all these details, what's the big picture takeaway?
Well, it really solidifies Presight's position, I think. They're emerging as a serious player in applied AI, particularly in this sovereign AI niche.
Leveraging that strong balance sheet we talked about.
Exactly. And their growing network of strategic partners, both domestic and international, like Dow Jones, they seem really well set for continued growth.
By focusing on these sovereign solutions, building strong client ties,
Yeah, and delivering value in these key markets. It also probably helps that there's growing tech collaboration between the UAE and the U.S., and the UAE government is clearly committed to AI partnerships. Presight seems perfectly positioned to benefit from that.
Okay, so just to summarize for everyone listening, Presight ADX listed G42 is the majority shareholder out of Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
They're positioning themselves as a global big data analytics company, heavily powered by AI.
Right. Their whole pitch is combining big data, analytics, AI expertise, serving basically every sector, aiming for business impact and positive societal impact.
And they focus on interpreting data from all sources to help drive decisions, shape policy, aiming for safer, healthier, happier societies, as they put it.
And using Gen AI now to bring applied AI to both public and private sectors, helping them hit their AI goals faster.
So yeah, this deep dive into Presight's first half really paints a picture, doesn't it? Rapid growth, very strategic expansion, and really carving out this niche in sovereign AI, especially for critical national infrastructure and public services.
It really does. Which leads to, I think, a pretty important question to ponder.
Go on.
As AI gets more and more embedded into, the core functions of governments and big companies, how is this drive for sovereign AI going to reshape things?
You mean like national digital strategies?
Yeah, and global tech partnerships.
Yeah.
Especially for countries that really want to control their own digital future, not just rely on the usual global tech players. How does that dynamic shift in the coming years?
That's definitely something to think about, how that balance between global platforms and national control plays out in the age of AI.
Exactly.
Okay, a great point to leave our listeners with as they continue their own journey of discovery. We hope this deep dive gave you some valuable insights into Presight and sparked some thinking. Until next time, keep exploring.